I know. Taiwan is a lot, guys. Like, not Taiwan, just teaching in a foreign country. It's not the same. So, incidents, people fly themselves to Taiwan, their money runs out, now they have to go back home, and that is not nice, beginning. So, you are in South Africa. How do you search for the job? And once you've got, let's first say, how do you search the job in South Africa? Sure.
Now, I'm going to do the same again. Nilibele.
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Siyamukela, Galkele, Kamzuli, Bomshanti, Nabonkosi. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today once again. Today we're going to have a little chitty chat about how we found ourselves here and the journey, and basically the steps that you can follow if you are interested in becoming, especially an ESL teacher in Taiwan. We will specifically speak about Taiwan because that is where we have the facts, not about Asia in general.
Yeah.
So we'll be concentrating mostly on that. Yeah.
In Taiwan. So, and also the advantage is that you have a South African. So she's going to speak about, as a South African, how can you get to Taiwan and all that. I'm a Swazi, so I'm going to speak on how, as a Swazi, you can come to Taiwan and also teach. So basically, I'm going to talk about those two. I know that some other African countries can as well.
Yeah.
For example, like Botswana and Lesotho, but probably it's almost the same thing, but maybe there's just a few things that would change, maybe. So definitely. But I think Lesotho is almost the same as South Africa, and then Botswana a little bit better in the between Eswatini and South Africa. So, but you can still use the same information to get yourself.
Yeah. So where do I start? So should I start with how I got here and what I did?
Not really, because that is going to explain later. So we can just tell us, how long have you been teaching here?
Oh my gosh, I'm a veteran. Guys, I'm actually, what do you call it, babe? When you get an APRC, what is it called? They call it a permanent citizen. Yes, I qualified for my permanent citizenship in May. So I've been here for 5 years, 2 months, and I haven't stopped teaching. I've been teaching since, and I started off with both kindergarten and elementary school. We call elementary school primary school back at home. So I started teaching that from the ages of 2 years old, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure if you've been following me on my socials, you'll know that I used to post pictures of the little beginnings that I used to teach. But now I think the last time I taught kindergarten was 2022.
Yes.
Last year?
Last year?
Did I teach kindy last year? Yes. That's the that one.
Yeah.
So yes, I taught kindergarten for a good 4 and a couple of months. 4 years and a couple of months, sorry. So yeah, and now I'm basically just doing elementary school. So I have grade 2s to grade 5s and 6s. So yeah, that's basically what I have been doing all these years here. And yeah, it's been good with, of course, some challenges here and there, but that's life, Yeah. And you?
Yeah, basically I've been here for what now? 6, going for 7 years.
So old.
Yeah.
Go home.
But I didn't come here as just a teacher. I came here as a student and going to university. Then while I was there, because I was paying for myself and now I do have a scholarship, I started working. So I started working the moment I got here, but not full-time, part-time. And then once I finished my studies, then I went full-time to working. So for me, you taught kindy, I was teaching high school because So I've taught high school I taught high school for 4 years, all right? So I taught high school in an international high school. So not just only English, so I did PE, a little bit of sciences as well, you know? So I did that, then that's when I moved to...
Elementary?
No, I moved to another high school.
Oh,
And then because now I was changing cities, that's when then I changed to cram school. So cram school is like an after school. So that's where then now I teach elementary kids, so from grade 1s to grade 6. So yeah, that's what I do now. But I still prefer high school. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the first
So
one?
we need to start from the beginning. So you are in South Africa. How do you search for the job? And once you've got, let's first say, how do you search the job in South Africa?
Okay, guys, for me, my experience is a little different to what other people have done. Mine was quite weird, to be quite honest, because it was just like a split of a second thing. I hadn't done my research. I didn't use an agent. I didn't do any of that. So that is why I always believed that God placed me here. So what I did one night was I just went on Google and I just typed in teaching English in Asia. And then, you see the results coming up, and there was a school that came up, and I clicked on their link, and, it was very, very clear, very self-explanatory. So as to what steps to follow in order for me to send through my application. So, I did that, and, I had to apply on their website because the link took me straight to their website. And that is why I uploaded my resume, and lo and behold, I promise you guys, the next day they replied. So because of the time differences, I suppose when I sent my resume, it was just towards morning time, right? So I slept. So when I woke up to an email saying, we received your application, and basically it was more like, we'd like to have an interview with you, because they were impressed. And then that's why I'm saying, for me it was that simple. So someone else can still do the same thing, and they may just be as lucky as I was. But however, I didn't apply with a lot of schools or whatever. I just applied to one school, and I was immediately accepted. So my process basically took about 2 months for me to find myself here. So the reason why it took 2 months was because I did an interview the same week, because we set up an online interview, and then thereafter, they were like, I would wait for 10 working days to get a response, and it didn't take a day. Like a few hours later, they came back to me and said, I was successful. So then after that, then they took me through all the steps that I had to do, which, should I mention all of them? Such a long thing.
So yeah, we need to be more informed, but that's the second question.
Okay.
So I think that that wraps it. Like, if you are looking for a job, basically your main thing, just go online and search. So basically you can go on Google, search schools in Taiwan or whatever, English teaching in Taiwan. So that is if you are outside of Swaziland. If you are in Swaziland, you do have an extra option, because most of the time, sometimes the government, because of the relationship they have with Taiwan, they do advertise sometimes jobs, maybe in the newspaper or something like that, or you can even approach them. Maybe you can approach them at the embassy or something like that. So that is for government schools. So that is for, you need to be a qualified teacher to be able to get through those channels of the government sister relationships with Taiwan to the government school. So you need to have your PGCE or you need to have your teacher's degree from the university, so that in that way you can be able to get the job. But one extra option that we could put in there for people to know is that there are also sites, sites like TLIT, that's T, like tea, drinking tea, and then lit.com.
TLIT.
Yeah, so TLIT, they do advertise jobs there. You can search by the city, but also that site is for professional teachers as well, like if you have a certificate of teaching. And then for everyone else, if you're trying to, you can also try to use Facebook. Facebook is a really good tool, but most of the time, because after COVID, most of the jobs you're going to find on Facebook are jobs that you need to be already in Taiwan. They will not help you to come to Taiwan. So I guess that is it, because then we can go to the second part of how to get to Taiwan, the application process, because maybe just before you say it, because for Southern it's easy. Now, it's easy now because now it's visa free. So if you have a Swazi international passport, you are visa free to come to Taiwan, you will get 90 days. But I would strongly advise you not to just get a plane and fly to Taiwan. At least try to apply for those jobs and get something that is promising and get something that people are willing, and then you can fly yourself, because we've had a couple of goals. We hope that everyone can get a job. And of course, if you are daring and you think you can try your luck and you have a lot of money in your pocket to sustain you for that time while you're looking for a job, sure, do it. But I would strongly advise you not to just pack your bags and come to Taiwan, which is what most people are going to say. It's especially now, the market is kind of getting saturated. So it's not that easy anymore to just, once you're in Taiwan, you're going to get a job. It's not that easy, especially because also you hold a Swaziland citizenship. And yes, you are qualified to be as an English speaking, but still the bosses here discriminate a lot. And yeah, so just be in the process or have something that is lined up before you fly here. So that would be my advice on that. So then you can let us know the whole 2-month process of South Africa for you.
Yeah, so I promise it's not gonna be that long. I'm gonna try and be very short. So basically, they will give you a list of the documents you need to prepare. So that will be your university degree, and this is so important, guys. Your university degree should be from a recognized university. When I say recognized, I mean that Taiwan should recognize the university, So there's a whole long list of, universities, so that you can research for yourself, just search on Google, like universities recognized in Taiwan. What I do know, though, that they don't accept degrees obtained from the University of South Africa. So UNISA, no, you cannot teach in Taiwan if you hold a degree from UNISA. So basically it has to be a degree, no diploma, no certificate, okay? And basically you're gonna have to take your degree to, firstly, I think you take it to the what is this thing called? Department of Higher Education first. So you take it to the Department of Higher Education, and then they're going to authenticate the degree, and then thereafter you will take it to the embassy, the Taiwan embassy. Yeah, is it which one is first? University
Department of Higher Education.
Department of Higher Education, Pretoria, then DACO.
Then DACO, yeah.
Then DACO, it'll be there for like 3 or 4 days. They'll tell you when to go back to collect it. They also try to check it in some way. And then once it's done and DACO is okay with it, then you take it to the Taiwanese embassy in Pretoria as well, where it's going to get notarized, okay? So you will take it to there. And once that's done, you need to, a tip for South Africans too. You cannot come here on any other visa but a visitor's visa. So when you go there to the embassy, you don't mention anything about coming here for a job or anything. Of course, if they ask you, you can tell them in the future you're planning on coming to work or to study or whatever, and then a few days later, then you can go and apply for your. I know this sounds like it's some sort of illegal stuff, but what can we do? And then much later, like a few days, give them a few days. Once you've picked up your degree and everything is notarized, you're good. Then you can go back and apply now for a visitor's visa. For a visitor's visa, you're going to need bank statements, 3 months bank statement with no less than 80,000 rand as your balance. Okay, on the bank statement, it needs to show how you use your money and what you have at that time as your bank balance. That's what you're going to need. So you're going to, this is just now degree is done. Now, this is for you to apply for a visa. So that's a 3-month bank statement with a balance of no less than 80,000 rand. Then you're going to need an invitation letter to Taiwan. So when you come here, you need to at least know somebody who's going to write a letter to state as to why you're coming here. Why are you visiting the country? And you can give your reasons. You're coming for tourist reasons. You want to, sightsee, whatever the reason you may give as to why you visit a country, right? So you're coming on vacation, it doesn't matter. And then the person that's writing you the letter needs to be very specific that they will be catering for you in terms of accommodation and other things in case they feel like 80,000 rand is not enough for the time period that you'd like to stay in Taiwan, right? So you at least need to have a backup because they're avoiding to have foreigners just, in the streets and not having a place to go to, because this place, they're very fussy, man, And then they need to also send you the ID and then the proof of address, okay, where they live. It doesn't have to be a proof of address, but just like an address of where they live. And the address needs to match the ID because your address is written on the ID. Yeah, the Taiwanese ID. So, yes. And that's it. And booked flight tickets, return. So you need to have booked your flight tickets. So you need to provide bank statement, invitation letter with the ID of the person who's inviting you. And then you're going to also need 2 flight tickets, booked already. And that's what you will need. And make sure that the flight ticket money also reflects on your bank statements, because sometimes people would say, maybe my parents are going to sponsor me. If you're going to go that route to say someone is going to sponsor your trip, you need to provide their bank statements as well to show that they are going to sponsor you and to show how much money they have. Should you be stranded in the country, will they be able to afford to help you out?
So before getting the visa, you need to have bought a ticket already.
You need to have bought a ticket already. Because they need to see that you are coming and going back. So that's what you need. I think that's about it. Yeah. Okay,
and then I know that then, so just to continue from that, now you are in Taiwan. I know there's something you guys do, the visa run. What is that and how do you get to that?
So unfortunately, sometimes we don't get enough days. So they give from 14 to 90 days. If you're lucky, you'll get 90. But if you're so unlucky, you'll get 14. So I was one of the unlucky people. I got 14 days. So they gave me 14 days, and that was not enough for me to get my work permit done, So that means that when the 14 days lapsed, I had to do a visa run. So I ran to Hong Kong to go and reapply for a visa. So I got there. I went to Hong Kong, Taiwanese embassy in Hong Kong. The reason I went to Hong Kong is because South Africans are obviously visa free in Hong Kong. So that was a nice way for me to just go in, and it's not too far from Taiwan. I mean, it's like how many hours from here? 2 hour flight to Hong Kong from here. So I flew to Hong Kong and went straight to the embassy. You can get it done in basically a few hours and then fly back, so just an in and out, but
that's not always the case.
That's not always the case. I was coming to that, when you go to Hong Kong, also you need to provide an address of where you're going to be sleeping that night, in Hong Kong, you need to have the same documents you had. So bank statement, still the same amount of money, invitation letter, and what am I saying? Flight tickets to show that you are going back. So now here's the tricky part. You are in Hong Kong, and at the airport they ask you, why are you going to Hong Kong? Because your flight ticket says you're flying out of Taiwan. You need to also have a backup story for that. You can just tell them you will change your return ticket home to flying from Hong Kong instead of flying from Taiwan, because you cannot tell them at the airport in Hong Kong that you are going to apply for a visa to come back to Taiwan. That's the reason why you are going into their country. So you tell them you're going to their country because you also want to visit before you return, and that is the decision you made upon your arrival in Taiwan, that seeing that Hong Kong is so close by, you may as well just stop by and see, and then so it's always just about thinking on your feet as to how you can get out of uncomfortable questions. Nobody warned me about it, so I just thought
on
yes,
the go. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is it. Yeah, I know, guys, it can sound a mouthful. It is sometimes a lot of work, so you need to be very patient, and yeah, you must be ready for all of this. Okay, so now you've traveled, you're in Taiwan, but the part that we didn't cover maybe is, okay, maybe let me put it for the Swazi people that are gonna be here. Now you've gotten a job, then now there's an interview stage. What's the best way of handling an interview in Taiwan, So that, because you would have to have an interview and then you would have to have a demo. Most of the time, before they hire you, they want you to have a demo. Of course, this might be different for the professional teachers who have the government contract. But I think also they in their interview process, they have to show a demo class. It might be just you and the camera, or it can be you in the class with some students and doing a demo class. So how is the best way to handle that?
Well, okay, I did my demo on camera. While they were interviewing me, they were like, we're gonna give you 5 minutes. Just pretend that you've got students in front of you, and they gave me an age group. What would you do? How would you, And of course they had already sent me questions prior to the interview, so I already kind of knew what I'm going to do. I knew I was going to teach phonics, I was going to teach conversation, things like that. Especially you need to be very careful not to use big words, not to speak too fast, because you're teaching English to non-English speakers, people who have never been exposed to English at all. So you need to be very careful with how you speak. So that would be my tip. Make sure you choose the easiest words, and just be friendly, man. I don't think there's anything more, because usually your interviewer would tell you, we want you to do conversation. So conversation would just be asking normal basic questions to the person that you are supposedly teaching, something like that. There isn't much to the demo, really.
Yeah, I think, I've done quite a few. But I think one of the things that I made sure, because your demo determines if these people are going to hire you or not. So, number one is, I know this sometimes sounds harsh, is lose the accent, and don't try to sound like something you're not, because then it's going to,
it's not gonna be consistent.
Yeah, it's not gonna be great for you. So be comfortable, number one, and then if you do get a demo and there is a class demo where you have students and you just have that 15 minutes to prove yourself, one thing that I try to do, so my demo is basically structured in 3 ways. Introduction, I introduce myself. If the kids are old enough or not a lot, I let them introduce themselves too, And then number 2, get into the content. What is the content about? And what you're trying to teach. And then number 3, get the students involved in what you were trying to say. So for example, if I went there and I was teaching about sports, then I can do a little bit of a game at the end, towards the end of my demo, to see if the students understand. And also that gives you good points of saying you can do a class engaging. You're not just gonna be like there just talking. And you get one of the tricks of getting a demo in every school that I always say this: if they call me and say come in for a demo, I'm already hired for that job, because I make sure if they put me in front of those kids for 15 minutes or whatever, I'll make sure those kids have the great time, I have the great time, and whosoever is watching me for that demo is like, I want to have this teacher in my school. Because it can be as simple as that. It's not about like over preparing as well. Of course, preparing is always good, but it's just the engagement, you're delivering of whatever.
It's important that the students have fun, and you as a teacher too.
To also have fun as well. So in that content, like 15 minutes is such a short time, even if I don't have proper content, like I don't have proper like lessons to deliver, but if I can get the class engaging with me and them being involved in what I'm doing, of course, and classroom management is important, with highly concentrated on me, and they are also enjoying it, and they are talking and everything, that will always get you the job. It's not about just teaching, it's just about how do you deliver. So you must be very confident in yourself, in what you're doing, and engaging with the students. So that would be one of the things. And of course, your interview is important, but usually your interview in Taiwan is not like your normal job interview.
They just want to check the what is it called?
The accent.
Is it the accent?
Yeah, the accent.
The accent, yeah, for lack of a better word.
On top of that, you must be warned. Like sometimes they will tell you that you need to sound like American.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's annoying, but if you know you're just and you want to get this job,
you have to do it. And I remember, okay guys, hey Nina, I remember I was here for like a month or so, and you start talking to people at home, and there are things that you obviously lose. Like if you pick up from how I pronounce my words, it's quite different from how I used to or how I normally would. But it puts bread on my table, and at some point you end up just getting used to it that you cannot even say it any differently anymore. We don't say bathroom. Like I don't remember the last time I said bathroom. I'm going to the bath, so it's bathroom. Things like that. You know how Americans speak. But of course, you're not going to completely lose yourself. But there are some words that when you say, even the kids are like, Tisha, what's that? So you don't want to say, let's go to the bathroom. Still say bathroom.
And one thing that I still struggle with today is pronouncing the R's and everything. Like that is still, even today, still gets me. But anyway, so that is now coming to the next part, which is the daily life, like your work environment and stuff, So
you see that?
I know. Taiwan is a lot, guys. Not Taiwan, just teaching in a foreign country. It's not the same. So you can be a teacher at home, be very good teacher at home, but here you're gonna lose that confidence, or like it's a completely different ball game than what it is at home. So let's talk a little bit about that working environment. So maybe we can start because I have the experience of working in public schools. Still today, I think public schools are much better than the cram schools and all of this.
So cram schools, for those that don't know, it's more like a private institution, okay? So it's a private institution where the kids go after school.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. That's where I've been. That's all I know, because I'm not a professional teacher. Well, not a professional teacher. I'm not a teacher by profession. I am a professional teacher but I'm not a teacher by profession. So I obviously had to learn how to do this whole teaching thing, and I think I've been doing.
So because the difference is that in public schools, or let's say international schools, which is like the day schools, like from you get to your job at 9 a.m., you knock off at 4 or 5 p.m. So those ones are a little bit better because they're still controlled by the school. So basically the school, for example, takes out the curriculum that is going to be taught. The school say the rules of the school, whatever. Of course, everywhere there's rules, but I mean, when there's a problem, it's the school that deals with that
Yeah.
problem. You understand? So it's better, and also behavior wise, it's also a little bit better, especially if you're like in your normal schools, you know. So the working environment there is usually great, but it is a lot more work that you need to put in. So because of like your lesson plans, you have to curate everything, you have to do everything on your own, right? It's not just a walk-in teaching wherever. It's a completely 9 to 5 job, which is like just teaching at home. So you get in the morning, get out in the afternoon, but you work more, you plan your lessons, you do everything. Probably they're gonna give you a classroom as well. That is gonna be your homeroom classroom. All of those things. There's just a lot of off work besides teaching that you have to do. For some people, it's not a problem. For some people, it's a problem because it's just adds a lot of work outside of just you teaching. And then the good thing about that job is that usually it comes as a salary-based job, which is good. You know that every month they're gonna get this. Sometimes it's bad because depending on how you negotiate your contract. And then number 2 is also good because most of those schools, they pay you during the off season, during the summer holidays or the winter vacation. So that is the good part of a public school or an international school, which is your day school. But then, which is a completely different story when it comes to cram school. So how's
Cram school is amazing. It is. I don't want to lie, and that is why I've stayed. I have a choice to actually go to a different school, but I choose not to for my reasons, guys. I cannot stress how much I love money. Okay. I don't mind having a salary based job, but with a cram school, it's hourly rates. Okay, so if you've been here for 5 years, you can only imagine how much money you can make in an hour. So, for instance, I'm gonna starting. So starting is 670 now. 670 for the first year, and then every single year they increase your hourly rate. Now, if you work, say 30 hours a week, so you can multiply your 670 by 30. That's how you know how much you make a week. But if you've been here for longer, it means that you could make up to 1,000 an hour. So if you have 6 hours a day, you have 6,000 Taiwanese dollars a day. So tell me why I would work. How many days do you work in a month? 22 days. 22 days. Tell me why I wouldn't want to work 120 hours, say, a month. So just multiply 1,000 by 120 hours, and then you get the salary, right? Like, that's the only reason why I personally have just stayed in cram schools.
Yeah.
Because I just made an example for you that you know, I've been here for 5 years, and you can just imagine what my hourly rate is, and the hours. Of course, you can say, I don't want many hours anymore, I'm tired, or I want this amount of hours. You know, you have a choice to tell them that you don't want a lot of hours or you want a lot of hours, which I have also taken less hours in 2022, right? I went down because I was tired and I was struggling with my physical issues, you know. But yeah, so basically, just to cut the long story short, cram schools hourly based, and then public and international schools is salary. And to be honest with you, the salary is not as high as the cram school. Yes, and that is the honest truth. So cram schools, they pay a lot of money, highly paid people. And then the advantage of other schools, main schools, is that they have their salary every single month, even on a holiday. Tina, it's you work.
You pay.
What is it
work
called?
as you pay. Eh?
You pay as you earn as you work. Earn as you work, okay? So you make your own money. If I'm gonna take a day off today, I know that I've lost 5,000. But if I go to work every day like me, I don't have any money to lose, okay? So that is the advantage and disadvantage of.
Yeah, that's the advantage. And the disadvantage, I mean, also in cram schools, that it's not all schools that are gonna come and have a lot of hours. You know, sometimes they'll give you like 18 hours a week. Sometimes, which is, I think 18 is the minimum if they're doing your papers for you. So it's like 18 hours, 20 hours. But for me personally, and this is where I differ with my wife, she likes cram schools. I don't like cram schools because sometimes you have months where you have a lot of holidays, like for example April or February, because February is winter break here. So you work like 3 weeks in the whole month, and your salary definitely is going to go down because you didn't work that other month. And also maybe April you have spring break, you have like 4 days off, and then you also don't get that pay. And also if something happens for some weird reason, you are sick, you are whatever, you don't show up to work, you lose the money.
The importance of saving money comes right here, guys. Like, guys, I just
no, like now it's summer, like now it's July, right? So public school teachers are at home. July, maybe if they can even take August off because schools are going to start in September, and they are getting paid.
Well, we don't close. Well, I do. In my current school, I'm actually currently on holiday.
Yeah.
I am on holiday. Yes, I understand the importance of that part, that, you know, I'm going to be on holiday for about 3 weeks. Okay. But that's still fine. I mean, we work all year. We don't get holidays in cram schools all year. So there is a need for us to actually have a break, paid or unpaid, guys. Love yourself, okay? But yeah, let's not drag this one.
Yeah, so, and then that covers most of the challenges, like that's just like beneficial, like pay. But challenges inside the school, the working environment, it differs from place to place, you know? Some places might be cool, like your school right now is more relaxed. You just like walk in, teach
go.
After class you go home, you know. Some schools would require you to
sit, prepare.
Do some prep work maybe 20 minutes before your class or something like that. So it just depends on the school and the school culture. But one thing I would raise is that in cram schools, the parents have a lot more voice in what happens. You know, if you have challenges and whatever, the child can come back home and tell their mom that they didn't like this. That parent is definitely going to go back to the school and tell the school that you are doing that as a teacher. So
what's the trick? Watch your mouth.
Yeah, so your trick is watch your mouth, watch what you do at all times, and like just try to be as professional as you can. But also, again, it depends on the school. Some schools are very fussy about this. Some schools are very relaxed. And some schools will protect you. So you never ever have to deal with the parent. But some schools you will have to deal with the parent. So just keep that in mind. And it's not nice, guys. It's not, especially because we are of a black color. So we always, almost every time, take the heat. If it doesn't matter how small the thing is, it doesn't matter how... just because you're black and you already, for you to be there, you can be the best teacher they have in that school. But just because you're black, some parents would not like that. And those parents have a higher voice than what you could ever say.
And guys, remember, like we said, disclaimer, we are mainly speaking from personal experiences. We are not generalizing, and we don't want people now to maybe say, oh, but that's not true. And we are talking about what we are going through, what we have experienced, what we have and what we haven't had before, you know. And everything that we're going to talk about here has got nothing to do with schools that we know nothing about. It's mainly going to focus on where we've been and the experience the two of us have had in the past 5, 6, 7 years we've been here.
Yeah, and then I think the next part, which is living in Taiwan, we're going to talk about that in a separate video, because we can talk more about how we live a marriage life. So watch out for that video. It's going to come through. And then what else can we add about just teaching in Taiwan?
I was about to say, just so people are not confused, what was I going to say? Just so people are not confused, when we speak of teachers in Taiwan, we're not necessarily referring to people who have got teaching degrees. So this is basically to remind you that whatever degree you hold, you can
get a job. Yes,
you can be holding a nursing degree, a journalist degree, whatever degree you have, you are more than welcome. When we refer to people as teachers, we don't necessarily mean that they studied education. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. That's
so basically, that's what I mean. You could be home right now and you've had that degree and not getting any job at home. You could try your luck with coming to Taiwan.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can try your luck absolutely, because honestly speaking, the pay is great. So just us being honest on our personal view, the pay is great. The lifestyle is not so great. So it's up to you how to choose. Like the way of living and everything.
It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, it's entirely up to you. For us, it's not as great, but the work, like the pay, is good. The pay is good because the salary range will start from, like we said, 600 NT dollars per hour, which is like around 300 rand per hour, 300 malangeni per hour, going all the way up to 1,000 NT, which is like 500 malangeni per hour, or 500 rands per hour.
It's actually better now, like, baby. I feel like you're lowering the
Yeah, but now the conversion rate, that might be, but that's what you look for, right? It's between 300 to 500 malangeni or rands per hour. And then if you're in a cram school, that's how, and basically also in public schools, almost kind of the same, but maybe in the lower.
So rounding it off, just to give someone a clear picture of what we talk about. Say for instance, you are still starting and you're still making that 670 per hour. You will take home, if you have hours, like average hours, which is 25 hours, right? That's our average.
That's a lot.
25
like
hours?
20 hours in most schools right now.
Guys, no. No, I don't know, but I don't know how the hours are now, but like I said, let's not talk about other people. Let's talk about what we know. Okay, so I'm gonna speak for myself. When I started, I was between 25 and 30 hours. And I'm not talking about now, but I'm talking about the beginning. My first year, that was 2019. You will not take home less than 35,000 rand after deductions. It will not be less than 35,000 rand after deductions. That is for starting. Yes, starting.
So yeah, I think yes, and so salary is good, but the lifestyle we will talk about later. Like I said in the next video of how is the lifestyle, how is the living in Taiwan as a foreigner, which sometimes is difficult, but sometimes has its own joys, and little joys. And we find other things to do, that keeps us going. So I guess that is most of the stuff you can do to getting yourself into Taiwan. Once you're in Taiwan, one of the other advices I would give, which I wished I had probably before. Well, no, I wouldn't have done that because I came here for studying first. But anyway, one of the advice I would give people who are just coming here for working first, have a plan. I think that was what is going to sustain you. Have a plan. Probably say, I'm going to go to Taiwan. This is how much I'm going to make. Don't just come and you don't have a plan, because if you come and have a plan, you will wake up 7 years later and you are just here. You have nothing to show.
Because it's nice to spend that money.
Yeah. So
I mean, most people come here and the only expense they have is probably to send some money home and take care of rent, whereas other people have other things to do. But some people come here and it's just accommodation and then maybe giving a home a little bit, and then you end up just spending all that money every single month clearing your sharing cart. You don't want that. You don't want that.
But just because we're speaking about money, maybe we can give people a clue of like how much they pay. Like your most basic one is going to be rent, right? So you have to have accommodation, of course. It's going to be your rent and probably your food. And then maybe transportation costs are not high for some people. And then so it depends also on which city do you go to. So if you come to Taiwan and you go to Taipei, probably your salary is going to be a little bit higher, but also your expenses are going to be a little bit higher because accommodations and stuff are very expensive in Taipei. But as you go down south of the country, like where we are in Kaohsiung, your salary maybe might not be as high as the people in Taipei, but your costs of which is like your accommodation is going to be very low. And if you go even further to like more little bit like rural cities, it's even better because then you might even find that your salary goes up a little bit because it's like in rural areas, but your costs go very low. So it's just you choose where you want to be. And of course, if you're in Taipei, crazy lifestyle, life is fast. If you're part of that nightlife, whatever, go to Taipei. If you want a more relaxed but yet still in the city, it's Kaohsiung or Taichung.
Is the second best place to come to.
Yeah,
in terms of not too slow, not too fast, but it's basically where the fun is. This is where you find your beach. This is where you find all the beautiful places to go to is in Kaohsiung, and it's not super busy.
It's not as busy as
the cost of living is not as high as Taipei, but it's
cheap.
also not cheap.
Yeah, it's
because
not cheap.
Rent here is not that cheap. Okay, it's not.
So of course, because you've told yourself, so maybe for rent you should be expecting to be paying from.
Well,
depends on
what you want.
But
if you're looking for a room with just a bed and shower, you can still pay 8,000.
Yeah, 8,000 NT, which is around 4,000 rand. Right?
Yeah, so it doesn't go lower than that.
Yeah, so I think around 4,000. That's where you start.
And when I got here, I just had a room and a bathroom, so it was more like a hotel room. I stayed there for like 8 months. It was nice because that's all I paid for, I just took out 8,000 from my salary, and that for me was amazing.
Yeah.
And then moved, and then now
we pay.
life is,
So it just depends on what you want. I mean, you create your own life in Taiwan as a teacher as well. Like it's literally up to you how you're gonna spend your money, how you're gonna make more money, because there are ways of making more money. Because I remember at some point I used to work like 3 jobs. I had like 3 jobs. So I had one that I would do in the morning, and then one I'd do in the evening, and then one I did on the weekend. So if you have that energy to do that, you can also do that. But over the years, this market is getting more and more saturated. So experience counts, your previous jobs counts, because these people talk. When the reference you're gonna write down there, they will surely call that person to ask about you, especially if it's another job in Taiwan. And so all of those things count in terms as you grow. But of course, over years, you get hang of the system, you get hang of how things are done, and it becomes better, right?
Okay. All right. Not to take up any more of your time, let's wrap this up. That was us, guys, just giving you a little bit of information about how you can go about applying for a job in Taiwan. And if you're interested in finding out more, if there's anything that you feel we didn't cover, you're more than welcome to drop a comment down below, and we will sure give you an answer. Also remember, disclaimer once again, this is just based on experience, personal experience from the both of us. This has got nothing to do with another person. Other people may have different experiences, and that's just also okay. But if you feel that what we've told you has inspired you enough to probably want to come here and change your life, because here you will get your financial freedom, and of course other things you may have to sacrifice, but financial freedom for sure. Okay, so yes. And what would you like to say, Daddy?
Thank you. That is it. Most of the thing is there. Like we said, if you have any questions, you want to find out more, you can drop a comment below. First, subscribe, like the video, then drop that comment.
All right, guys, we're gonna leave you here. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time. Goodbye.
Bye.